afternoon and welcome to our webinar on organizing your data. My name is Daniel Kim and I'll be walking you through how to set up your user-defined data fields, import your contacts into GreenRope, moving contacts into groups based upon the spreadsheet that you're going to upload, tagging contacts within your spreadsheet, and cleaning your contact list through our Clean tab. To begin, the first thing that you're going to really want to do is create the user-defined data fields and groups that you want to segment your contact list into. You're going to place your cursor over the settings icon on the top right-hand corner of your screen, and you're going to select the group option here. That is going to place you within the group setup section of your account, and as you can see, you'll actually be able to create a new group directly within the group setup here by clicking on that icon right there and entering in a group here. And clicking on this Create New Group option, as well as creating any user-defined data fields that you'd like within this user-defined data tab here. Then by clicking on this Add New Custom Field. I do recommend that you do create your groups as well as your user-defined data fields previous to going in and organizing your spreadsheet to upload. To create a user-defined data field, you're going to click on this user-defined data tab within the group setup section here. Now, if you click on this question mark icon, we do give you a bit more information about the group setup section. And if you click on this question mark icon here, we do give you more information that details each of the types of user-defined data fields that you can actually create. If you click here on this Add New Custom Field, you'll see that you can enter in a field name. Now this can range anywhere from a question to a custom field that you have. As you can see, I have here, please select your profession, and I've entered in values here separated with a comma and a space, like so. So it's probably going to be, your profession's probably going to be a single profession, although I mean, you may have multiple professions, but for this example, if I go back here, I've used the type select one. That's going to allow either you or a registrant of a sign-up form to select one of the values that have been entered here. And once again, you can add additional values or additional options for selection by placing in a comma and a space, and then entering in, the additional values that you'd like to enter in. If I go back to this contact section here, I can show you exactly what that looks like. I click to edit a contact. It's going to show me, please select your profession, right? And it shows me those values that I've entered in. So let's go back to the group setup. Click on that user-defined data tab. If you look here, we do have many different types of user-defined data fields. The select one is the one that I just went over. Essentially, you're going to select one of these values here. This select multiple option puts checkboxes next to each of these values in that edit contact window. And it allows you to select multiple options here. So in this example, if you do have multiple professions, or if you want your contacts to enter in, or if you know your contacts have multiple professions, you can use select multiple as the type, and they would be able to, either you or they would be able to select any of the values here. Short text and open text are essentially open text fields that are going to remain blank. So if you select one of these right here, short text or open text, you don't need to enter in any values here at the bottom. Short text is essentially a short text field that's limited to 250 characters, but it's going to be a blank field. Open text is the same idea as short text, but there aren't any character limitations. So you can use this as like a notation or for notes. And if you select this date option as the type, you're going to also leave this blank this values section here, or this option section here, as you're going to be able to select, it's going to be a blank field, and if you click on it, you're going to be able to enter in a date. Now, once again, if you select this question mark icon here, we do go through each of the different types of fields that we offer right here. Now, once you've created all of the user-defined data fields, the custom user-defined data fields, and you've created the groups that you wanted the contacts to be added into, what you're going to do is you're going to click on this media library header within the navigation bar above. Once you've selected the media library option, if you click on this resources option here within the folder section of the media library, and then if you select this files tab, we do provide you with a contact list CSV outline that you can definitely use. So if you click here, you'll be able to download it. You can open it or save it onto your desktop. And this is going to be essentially a blank template right here. And these headers that are listed are all of our default fields that we have currently in the system. So therefore, you're going to need to add the custom user-defined data fields that you created right here. So for that example, it was select your profession, right? That's one of the user-defined data fields. And if you want to remove any of these fields here, or within the spreadsheet, just to make it so it's a little bit simpler, you can go ahead and remove them if you wish. Continue to do this, or we can just highlight this. Right here. Like so. Probably not going to need default jersey number, hometown. Just delete all this right here. Now, once you're ready to, once again, you're going to add the user-defined data fields that you've created to the top of the spreadsheet, like so. Right? And let's go back here and let's select a couple, or let's add in a couple other user-defined data fields that I have created. So, what kind of financial advice were you interested in? Definitely add that in right there. And select the most appropriate credit score. All right. So when you're starting to organize your data, please note that the email address is going to be extremely important, as that restricts any duplicate contacts from being uploaded. You don't necessarily always need to have an email address associated with the contact, but if you don't have an email address, you're going to upload duplicate contacts because there's no way for our system to identify duplicate contacts unless there is an email address associated with the contact. So for me, it'd be dan@greenrope.com. My first name is Daniel. Last name is Kim. Client Services Manager. Let's see. Select your profession. As an example, I'm just going to enter in one of the options here. Right. Delete this. So what kind of financial advice were you interested in? Let's do Roth IRA and 600 to 700. Now, all this information is going to be associated, once again, with my email address here. Right? Now, if you want to add your contacts to multiple groups, you're simply going to add a groups header up top, like so. and then you're going to enter in the groups that you want the contact to be uploaded into here. Now, if you want to add them to multiple groups, here's how you do it. So let's say I wanted to add my Dan at GreenRope.com to this Daniel Kim group as well as the sales staff group. What I'm going to do is I'm going to enter in the group name exactly as it's shown here. So if it's Daniel Kim, and then I'm going to put a comma, space, and then I'm going to enter in the other group that I want this contact to be added into, so the sales staff. If you want to tag an individual, you're going to enter in a tags header up top here, and then you're going to enter in the full tag right below that and associate it once again with this email address here. Now, once you're finished filling out all this additional data, or whatever data you want to fill out and associate with this email address here, you're going to click to save this Excel spreadsheet, or save as, and you're going to want to save it as a CSV type right here. If you have a Mac, you can use this right here. I'm using just a regular desktop, so I'm going to select this CSV MS-DOS.CSV file type, and then I'm probably going to want to place it somewhere where I can easily retrieve it. Let's rename this test upload. We'll save it, and you're going to get this dialog box here that says it's going to reformat it, and you're going to lose if you do have additional spreadsheets attached at the bottom here, because I understand with Excel you can create multiple spreadsheets inside of a single file. It's going to actually remove those. So you're only going to have just one spreadsheet at the bottom here, and you're going to click yes to this. Once you exit exit out of this window, it's going to ask you again. For me, I always just resave it and I replace that existing file just in case. And now, as you can see, this file is going to be right here. That test upload file, right? Now, once I'm ready to upload, what I'm going to do, or after I've saved that CSV file, I'm going to place my cursor of this contacts header, and I'm going to select this import option here. That's going to take me directly to the import tab of your contacts and customer relationship management system. When I'm ready to, I'm going to click on this upload file option here, and then I'm going to select the CSV file like so. It's going to load it, and this is going to appear, this option section and this header selection here. Right? You're going to want to keep the first row as header, and you're going to set that to yes. The delimiter is going to be the comma. Even though you have multiple groups within the spreadsheet, as long as it's specified within the cell of a spreadsheet, you can just keep this default group to just a singular group, because obviously you can't select multiple groups. So because I've specified it in the spreadsheet, I'm just going to leave it at Daniel Kim, or whatever group that I'm in here. There isn't a default tag, but you can assign a default tag here, any of the tags that you've created, and once you do, if you select something here, like one of the tags, what that's going to do is actually that's going to tag any individuals that's in your spreadsheet and automatically tag them with whatever tag you've selected here. For the error handling, you're going to want to leave it to ignore invalid lines, truncate fields that are too large, and process all contacts as possible. Right? Keep this merge contact information, preferring details in this file, etc., etc. Tag handling, you can actually create unknown tags here. If you do have tags in your spreadsheet that you want to upload, for example, right here, if you entered in a tag here below this header to associate with this email address, and that tag doesn't exist within GreenRope, you can actually select this as create unknown tags. Otherwise, just keep it to validate tags right here. Now, once you've selected all the options here, an extremely important part of this upload process is going to be this header selection here. Because I downloaded this from the media library, it's going to identify the majority of the data fields because they were default data fields and they're spelled out exactly how they're spelled out within the system. But if I scroll all the way to the right, you're going to see please select for these user-defined data fields, these custom user-defined data fields. What you're going to need to do is actually align these headers, like so. Please select your profession. What kind of financial advice were you interested in? And then select the most appropriate credit score. As you can see, groups is already selected and tags is already selected, right? Once you've actually aligned the headers, I would go back and I would just double check to make sure everything is aligned so that everything uploads appropriately. Again, just make sure that that's right there. And you're going to need to actually align the headers for any custom user-defined data fields that you have created. So right here, make sure everything's all good to go. And then once you're finished with that, you're going to click on this import this file option here. It's going to go through the motions, it's going to validate. And if it is successful, if there aren't any errors, it's going to say success, like so. You can actually download the report here, and this will show you exactly what happened. So this email address actually already existed within GreenRope, so it's going to say duplicate, but it was merged, right? So all the additional information that I've entered in here is actually it's going to update my my contact record within GreenRope. And as you can see here, I added this email address to the Daniel Kim group and the sales staff group, right? So let's check the sales staff group just in case to double check that I've been uploaded in. For 1 second. Right here. Right? And you'll see here that I've actually been added in. And my contact data was merged into this group. So everything looks all good to go. And I would always double check to make sure just any of the, so say that you have like a spreadsheet with a lot of contacts. What I usually do to double check to make sure that the contacts have been uploaded into the appropriate groups, I actually copy this email address here or any of the email addresses that, you know, are listed, just a random one, maybe 1 or 2. I'll copy them. And then I'll search for them here within the groups that they were supposed to be uploaded into. Like so. And then it shows indeed that I've actually been uploaded into this group. Let's see. Now, if you click on this Tools tab, and you click on this Clean tab right here, you'll actually be able to remove contacts with no names or email addresses. So let's say that you export a list out from, you know, a separate platform like Gmail or, you know, any other platforms that you may remove a spreadsheet from or export a spreadsheet out from. There may be some discrepancies because really all you're doing is going to be adjusting these headers here so that they match the headers that are inside GreenRope. So there could be a possibility that, you know, there is a contact record there that doesn't have a name or an email address. You can actually click here and you can actually remove contacts without names or email addresses. And the same here, you can remove contacts with no email addresses specifically. But yeah, and you can actually modify your contacts. So let's say you uploaded a spreadsheet and you know for sure that one of the fields is incorrect. You can actually set it so that that field is, and this is going to apply to all of your contacts within a group right here. So once again, how I got to that spreadsheet to download it, I actually clicked on this media library icon right here. I selected this resources option within the folder section of the media library, and then I clicked on this files tab. And once again, you can actually download it right here. This is the actual, if you click on it, it'll prompt like a pop-up window, and it's going to say, do you want to save or download this file? And that's how I got to this right here. Please remember to create your user-defined data fields within the group setup section here, as well as all of the other additional groups that you want to create previous to organizing your spreadsheet, because that'll allow you to actually select or enter in the appropriate groups here, right? So that the contacts within the spreadsheet will be placed into the appropriate groups. Now, if you do have a suppression list, you can actually upload a suppression list. And what a suppression list is if I place my cursor over this contact header and select this import option here, I can click on the suppression list tab. Essentially, you need to create a TXT file within like Notepad or any of, say you're using Mac. I know that they do have something similar to Notepad. I'm not quite sure on the exact application name. But essentially, you're going to enter in the email address right here. What a suppression list is essentially a list of unsubscribed contacts. That's going to be extremely important. We don't actually charge you for unsubscribed contacts, and that's going to be extremely important because anytime you transition from one platform to another, you're going to always want to bring in your unsubscribed contacts so that you don't accidentally send them an email and then they unsubscribe from you again or they mark you as spam. That's to ensure our high email deliverability, and this is essentially how you're going to create your suppression list. Once again, you're going to create it within an application like Notepad, and you're going to enter in for every line. You're going to enter in an email address here. And that's pretty much how you're going to do it, and then you're going to save it here as a TXT file. Once you've saved it, you're going to upload that TXT file here. Now, if you look at this question mark icon, it'll actually give you an example. So, like I stated, each line is going to need to have its own email address, or it's not going to upload properly. But once again, this area is quickly used to upload a list of contacts who should be suppressed from all email lists. All right, and that ends my my presentation on organizing your contact data. I'll now move on to any questions that you guys did have. Kenton Cowdery asks, can you import multiple tags separated by commas? Yes, you can. You definitely can. However, I do recommend that you create user-defined data fields instead of using tags. You can actually create each of those tags as user-defined data fields within the group setup here. So I would go here, add new custom field, enter in whatever you used within the different platform as a field name, and then use short text as the type right here. So enter in a field name, use short text. You don't need to enter anything here. But in the spreadsheet, all you're going to need to do is enter in right here up top where the header is, the name of the user-defined data field. And because it's short text, you can just manually enter in whatever data you need to right below it. Just make sure that it's associated with an email address here. So you can import CRM activities. You do, however, need to create a spreadsheet like so. If you go over here, back to this contacts, if you place your cursor over this contacts header and select this import option here, and if you go right here, you'll see that there's a CRM Import tab. So these are going to be the headers, essentially, that you're going to place in on top, right in this row here. So you're going to need to create a separate spreadsheet altogether. As you can see, you're going to need to associate like the done date, everything pretty much to an email address. And once you've entered that in to a spreadsheet, you're going to upload it within the CRM Import tab. And as you can see, you can click on this upload file here and upload the CRM activities. There is not a limit to the number of custom fields, Hazen. So hold on one second. So the reason why, and Ron's asking what's the difference between suppressing a contact versus deleting them. We do ask you to upload a suppression list, because let's say that you delete an unsubscribed contact from your database, right? And then in another list, you accidentally upload them back in. You could potentially send them another email, at which point they could mark you as spam. That seriously hurts the overall deliverability of any emails for all of our clients. Therefore, we ask you to upload a suppression list of unsubscribed contacts if you are transferring over from another platform. That just guarantees that our email deliverability stays at a high rate. And we don't charge those contacts that you place into the suppression list. They aren't billable contacts, so we don't charge you for that. It's just a matter of making sure that you're not sending out emails to contacts who have expressed that they don't want any more emails sent to them. Hazen asks, why exactly do you recommend using user-defined data fields versus tags? It's a lot easier. For me personally, I usually recommend only using tags on a case-by-case basis. As you can see here, I only have 2. After you start getting to around 10 tags, this tag cloud may get a bit convoluted, so it may do you more harm than good, which is why I actually stated that you should use user-defined data fields, because you can look up contacts based upon the user-defined data fields here, like so, selecting it within the contacts tab of your contacts and customer relationship management system. Obviously, you can use both. We do give you the option to use both tags and user-defined data fields. However, I do recommend that you use user-defined data fields more frequently than tags. No, a suppression list can't be an Excel file, Gary. It has to be a TXT file. And each email address that you're going to include into the suppression list needs to be its own line. Yes, you can search for tags, Ron. If you look here, select is, you'll see that you can actually search for tags, as well as selecting a tag from the tag cloud here. To get to Joe's question, yes, they are going to be 2 separate imports. So you're essentially going to import your contact list in first, and then after you've imported your contact list, you're going to create another spreadsheet for your CRM activities and import that in. So, Grant, when you state that you have multiple groups, you can certainly create those groups here by clicking on this gear icon or placing a cursor over the settings icon and selecting this group option here, right here. That'll take you to the group setup section right there. And then you can actually click on this create new group option and actually create those new groups. User-defined data fields are essentially used to highlight specific data that's relevant to your business and associate them with a contact, like so. So I mean, that's, if you wanted to create user-defined data fields, you certainly can. You can also create groups. If you actually upload contacts that with a user-defined data field specified, like let's say like how I did it right here, select your profession. I put in CPA, what kind of financial advice were you interested in, Roth IRA, and then I did all this. You can actually look up contacts that match that criteria, and then at a later time, you can actually segment that list. So I had a couple things identified here. So I said CPA, Roth IRA 600. So I can look up, let's put in, please select your profession, CPA. I press enter. It'll only pull me up or anyone that matches that criteria. And if you look here, you can click on this export as group option and actually select a group to append to or place into, or you can even create a new group for the contacts to be added into. You can actually transfer user-defined data fields to different groups. If you click on this group setup section right here, and you go to this user-defined data tab, you'll see that you can actually set the sharing for this group or all your groups. These are the only two options that we provide. You can make it either specific to this group only, any of the user-defined data fields you create, or available to all groups. And if you want, we did recently add a function here. If you go to the settings, and you click on this account option here, if you're the main account holder, you're going to be able to see all the user-defined data fields you've created, even though they're specific to a group. So if you click on the settings tab within the My Account section, and you scroll down here, you can actually set by default this contact user field display. You can hide the user fields from other groups so that if you're in another group, you'll only see the user-defined data fields that are specific to that group. I think you can just save changes right there. Well, I skipped over Tom's question. Sorry about that, Tom. If a field does not map correctly on an import, would you simply re-import the same list right into the same group to get that mismap file to populate correctly? Okay, so if a field didn't map correctly, that's why that whole section, when I was doing that import right here, you're always going to want to, and let me use this as an example right here. You're always going to want to make sure that the header selection, in the header selection, all the headers are appropriately aligned, like so. If you see, like, there is a possibility, though, like, obviously, you may not select it on accident. As long as you have the email address specified within the spreadsheet here, just re-upload that spreadsheet with the email address defined right here. And, you can actually remove all this all these excess headers and just enter in, like, the user-defined data field that you want edited and updated, and put that as the header here, and then just re-upload the list. As long as you align that header within this selection here, this header selection, it should actually, allow you to populate the data correctly into the contact records. So for a company who has a database in constant contact, may we just export with their template and clean up after including the suppressed list? Absolutely, yeah. So you can actually export out a contact list, and it should come out. They all usually come out to, like, when you're doing an export from another platform, it should all be like in a CSV file format. Just make sure that you have the headers aligned, like so, or make sure you create the appropriate headers on top. I know some lists they'll actually just export like the email and then have without having this header row on top. You need to make sure that this header row exists on top so that you can align the headers within the header selection and make sure that the appropriate data is entered into the appropriate places for this email address here. So Chris, you would need to import that as a CRM activity. As I stated here, you can actually do that within the CRM import. We do give you more information here. Essentially, you would need to create a spreadsheet like this with these headers. So like unused or contact, handler, group, company, email, done date, due date, activity, notes, etc., etc. And those would need to populate within this header row here, and then you would, enter in the criteria below in the columns, and then upload that into this section here. Upload file right there. Joe, if possible, could you actually send your questions to our support email address, please? I can't show you an example from Sage or anything like that. I don't have access to any other CRM platforms other than my own. So I can't really provide you an example. But, I mean, if you could, it seems that you have a lot of questions, which would be better addressed if you actually sent in an email to support@greenrope.com, and we would be happy to assist you with that. Hazen, I would be happy to send you that CSV template to you. I will actually send it over to you right away. So, Chris, you can't actually import in like drip campaigns. You need to set that up within this section here and actually manually create, either upload the email templates that you had previously into the media library, or create the email templates within this email section here. And then after you've saved those email templates, you should be able to use them within the drip campaigns here. You can't actually import previous drip campaigns through a spreadsheet. So, Chris, you would just create those as user-defined data fields. Here. Let me scroll down here. You would add a new custom field. You would enter in for the type. You might use select one or select multiple. The only way that you can do that, Chris, is to upload them as CRM activities within a spreadsheet. That's the only way, because CRM activities will actually show up in your calendar here. If you click on this calendar header within the navigation bar above, you'll scroll down, you'll actually see CRM activities as a checkbox. If you click that here, it'll show all the CRM activities you have for this group that's due. But you need to upload those CRM activities through a spreadsheet here first. And we've outlined the headers within, so you can place your cursor over the contacts header and select this import option here. You'll see that there's going to be like a CRM import tab. And so you need to enter in those headers within this row, this first row above right here. And then you need to import that separately from the contact list. But remember that the email address is going to be the most important part of that process, because our system needs to identify who to associate the CRM activities with. And so that's done through the email address. So Joe asks right here, settings right here. So this add contact form field, that's what this is. So you know when you're creating a new contact, you can see, so I clicked on this contact header and I select this add new contacts icon right here. You know how there are all these fields here? You can actually add more to this create new contact window by going back to the account section here and to the settings tab here. And if you scroll down, you can actually move them. You'll see that all that was there. You can actually add, more items to add to that window by just dragging and dropping here. Are there any other questions that I could assist you guys with at this time? I'd be happy to help while I'm here. Also, if you guys do have any questions, any specific questions, you guys are more than welcome to email us at support@greenrope.com. We do have client services managers that are really knowledgeable, like myself, and that are ready to assist you guys if you guys do have any particular questions. Could you clarify that, April? If an email is in multiple merges, would it not upload? I mean, we do use the email address as a unique identifier. So, I mean, you would, let's see, hold on, let me open up. Actually, cancel, let's go over here. I mean, you're going to need to enter in an email address here, and it's going to need to, and the associated information is going to be to the right of that. So, like the first name, last name associated with the email address, like so. I mean, if an email address is in multiple merges, it's going to update the contact record with the information that's been placed into the spreadsheet. It's not going to like delete anything. It's just going to update that information. If you guys do have any other questions, once again, please feel free to contact us at support@greenrope.com. We'd be happy to help you guys out. And we're here to assist you guys and assist you guys with getting acclimated to our platform as well. So please do not hesitate to contact us at any time, and we'd be happy to help you guys out. Thank you for participating in today's webinar on organizing your data. And happy July 4th, everyone.